Wow, Jujutsu Kaisen continues to bring some of the best animation this year with an impressive episode. Todo and Itadori versus Mahito has to be one of the best ways to end this season, and that's coming after the hellacious Sukuna fights and Shibuya incident itself. So let's break this episode down from stem to stern and really get into the nitty-gritty of it all. If you love Jujutsu Kaisen, then subscribe and drop a like on the video. In about a week or so, we're going to drop my breakdown/analysis for Mahito and Jujutsu Kaisen, and trust me, none of you will want to miss it. One of the best JJK videos I've ever done. So subscribe and drop a like, or else I'll judo chop you in your retinas. So this opening scene was quite ambitious, and I think for the most part, the animators working on this episode absolutely nailed what they were going for. As Mahito releases his tendrils, Yuji and Todo brilliantly move, bobbing and weaving through his attacks, and what's crazy about this is that all of it is so fluid, but very easy to follow. This is pretty crazy because this opening scene has about, I'd say like 3 or 4 cuts in it, but it's paced really well. A great part is when Mahito, I don't know how to describe it, but slithers and rolls up into himself like a snake and bursts out, covering the entirety of Shibuya, creating a quite literal fleshy battleground. This juxtaposition of flesh and humanity is just so gratuitous, but it's hard to turn away because it's so strangely beautiful just because of the art, and you can clearly tell a lot of time went into this, so you just gotta look at it in all of its horrific glory. Mahito's VA, once again, really for this entire episode, delivers an incredible performance, probably one of the best, if not the best performances of this entire season, outside of maybe Gojo, Geto, or Riko Amanai. He basically tells Itadori that this is the last time they'll be able to curse each other, and so why not just throw it all away and fight? That's kind of what I got out of that moment. You can really get a sense of Mahito's pure evilness in this moment with the combination of the VA's delivery and Mahito's twisted, crude face that just makes you want to take a shower. It's pure anime. The way his face moves as it's contorting to this unnatural way, yet fluid and surreal with the way this scene is framed by the camera. I also love how Itadori doesn't respond first, but it's Todo who, with this boundless soaring charisma, is like, "Don't forget about me." But even then, Todo is still taking it seriously, as both Itadori and Todo look at each other in acknowledgement, showing that playtime is over and things are about to get really freaking real, like a Netflix live-action adaptation. Then the music kicks in with this beautiful compressed guitar with a lot of delay. I always love the way a guitar sounds when it's compressed in a clean channel and with added delay on it. I mean, it just brings perfect tension to this scene, and it's a great tone to have on a guitar. Last video, I talked about how, due to Mahito's abilities, the animators are able to be really creative with his fights and do things that literally no other character can do in JJK, which is impressive considering that every character in this series is unique and unlike each other already. Well, this point is proven once again as Itadori attacks, only for Mahito to twist his head off like something out of The Exorcist, which I am sure is probably a reference to that film, but Mahito, with his head detached, grows a pair of eyes out of his neck, which looks really weird, and while this is happening, he uses his actual head to grow legs and basically just run across the battlefield to use soul multiplicity. Soul multiplicity, as its name suggests, merges 2 or more souls through idle transfiguration, eliciting a natural rejection reaction between them, and this rejection reaction basically becomes a catalyst for the user to develop additional techniques that capitalize on this inherent response. Sort of like fission in a way. So due to this, Mahito creates a transfigured human of sorts that attacks the two, so Todo takes on the transfigured human while Itadori fights one of the Mahitos, but Todo underestimates this and is hit, causing Itadori to lose focus, allowing Mahito to use the opening with something that is sort of a trend with Itadori throughout the rest of this fight. We get this cool moment as well where Todo is sent flying through a building, which is, I mean, it's just beautiful looking. It's crazy. Which leads into another part where Todo punches it into the ground in one blow, killing it, realizing that what Mahito did here was creating these vessels with multiple souls within them just to really burn them out quickly but bright. So basically, they may be physically weak, but they are able to pack a punch until hit, allowing Mahito to summon multiple of them. After the opening, as Google Docs calls it, Mojito reveals he wanted to separate Todo from Itadori, allowing the two to fight one-on-one, and immediately Mahito takes the advantage by using his tendrils to attack in some of the craziest animation as he destroys a building with the tendrils, leading to Itadori using the sign from the building to counterattack and then slide down the tendrils, all the while Mahito smiles up at Itadori like a kid wanting something from their mother. I mean, wow. But Mahito underestimates Todo as he makes quick work of the curses and reunites with his brother Itadori. And what's really interesting visually here is that Itadori's hair looks a little bit like Sukuna's, reminding us all the power inside of Itadori at this moment and what he is capable of and what is capable of happening if he is let out again. But as well, maybe hinting at Itadori taking on more traits of Sukuna, which something we'll talk about more later. So, in a twist, Mahito uses domain expansion, which of course he learned from Gojo, as Itadori immediately realizes it in shock what he is doing. So in a twisted and perverted move reminiscent of Gojo's, well, more pure version, Mahito, for just 0.2 seconds, uses domain expansion on Itadori and Todo. So, Todo, in retaliation and with quick thinking you'd see of a sorcerer of his caliber, uses simple domain, which is the technique that Yuki Tsukumo taught him, which I like because, as we know, Todo, well, he likes tall women with fine behinds, and Yuki seems like his type. So, of course, he's learned a couple of techniques from her. I mean, that's just really clever character writing. This leaves Itadori, who immediately begins to sprint at Mahito, though, you know, at the end of the day, Mahito was faster, and we see this twisted yet beautiful shot of Mahito with his mouth agape with those tiny little hands and his heterochromatic eyes. Sort of beautiful in a way, like he looks pretty behind all of that disgustingness, but it's that disgustingness that kind of contorts that handsomeness that he has. It's really, really such a good visual design. All of this sort of leads to Mahito telling Sukuna that he'll kill Itadori faster than they can switch, and to basically just sit back and watch, as Sukuna just, well, says nothing, sort of just flopping his massive transfigured peepee onto Sukuna's metaphorical coffee table. That was a sentence. Subscribe for more content like that. So in the initial volley of attacks from Mahito, he ends up destroying one of Todo's hands and sending cursed objects shooting at him. All the while, Itadori continues to run at Mahito, but once again, he uses the opening to strike Itadori and then Todo, and Mahito, or as Google Docs says it, Mojito, hits one of the coolest black flashes I've seen, which immediately bruises up Todo's midsection, causing him to cough up blood and, well, begin to pass out. But we now get to one of the greatest moments in the entire season of JJK this season, in my opinion. The one we've all been waiting for, whether you think that or not. As the locket snaps and falls from Todo's neck, we see it open up to reveal a picture of Itadori and a young girl, while J-pop begins to play. Oh my god. And it's here I realized that greatness was about to happen, and we would all be witness to this great biblical moment. Well, dare I say, biblical doesn't do it quite justice. In just a moment, behind Todo appears Takada-chan as her song Climax Jumping roars as they strike a pose together, and I'm just impressed. I can't believe they took this moment and just went all out with it like they did. I mean, I gotta clap for this. This deserves at least a small golf clap of some kind. So as this J-pop song plays, Takada and Todo absolutely destroy Mahito, who is, well, at this moment probably very confused. And I know I would. The two just absolutely destroy Mahito repeatedly and with, well, extreme prejudice. And in a split second, Itadori uses one of the craziest black flashes I've ever seen in this series, as Todo, now basically spent, is just on the ground looking at the palm of his hand, which is just absolutely destroyed and half burnt off almost. Itadori realizes the sacrifice Todo made for this opening, and so he thanks him as Todo passes out, but that's not the last we'll be seeing of Todo. And here's the thing though, I also lied. Or well, I think I did? Okay. So one of the actual moments we've been waiting for, besides, you know, this entire arc, was this moment when Mahito uses instant spirit body of distorted killing. And if you think that sounds edgy, it's because it is. And it's beautiful. The attack begins as you immediately realize that Mahito now has a tail that he can use to attack Itadori, which Itadori blocks as they go into attack again, as they block the attacks with just a clank like metal on metal. Even Itadori is surprised to find that his body is hard like Choso's was, which I love that reference there. But he continues to attack Itadori and slice and dice him as Itadori just launches into this futile effort to basically oro him. Brilliantly, the animators are able to just animate this awesome shot where he sends Itadori face first into the ground, creating a crater below him, destroying a part of his face, which is an awesome detail, as Itadori realizes he basically can't move due to the damage he has taken. Same goes for Mahito, who basically has to stop his attack due to how much output he has been doing, while Itadori hits his leg to sort of kickstart it. Once again, in a very strange scene which makes Itadori look more like Sukuna than himself, he attacks Mahito, and it's effective, even breaking through Mahito's armor for just a moment, and it really does feel as if Itadori has been able to change and grow so much as a sorcerer and, regress in a way as a human because of, technically what Mahito allowed Jogo to do to Itadori. And this is when we have the craziest turn of events, and I feel like I just keep lying to you, because this is also a moment I've been waiting for. Todo appears and is able to allow Itadori to use Black Flash in one of the top 10 best animated moments of this year easily, and just absolutely crushes Mahito. Even crazier is that in this moment, Itadori says something so surprising that he agrees with Mahito, that he is just like him and that he initially denied it. But he realizes that it's different now, and all he wants to do is just kill him. No matter what, no matter whatever the reasons, he just wants to kill him. Itadori, because of Mahito's actions, has now and forever will wage a war with curses and kill every single one of them. Mahito has, in a twist of fate that I wouldn't call so cruel, more deserving, his own demise, and quite possibly the demise of all curses. Now, as the rest of the scene play out, Itadori has become the wolf, and Mahito has become the rabbit. Basically, predator and prey. And in the face of this realization that he has lost and is now powerless, simply just throws dirt at Itadori in a vain attempt to do anything. Mahito is just pitiful, and I must say, despite that, I feel no pity. Mahito, he killed Mekamaru, he took Gojo off the playing field, he killed Nobara for fun, and he even killed Nanami. Mahito has become unredeemable and so evil, and has killed so many that he cannot survive. It's just not possible from a writing standpoint. However, there may be a light at the end of the tunnel for him as Geto appears before him in the place of Itadori, but is this just an apparition created from his broken mind, or is this actually the help he needs? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. All right, real talk. This episode, absolutely phenomenal, and there will never be another episode like this in the series. There just isn't the possibility of this ever happening again. Mahito, or as Google Docs once again says, Mojito, is quite possibly the greatest villain in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, and the close seconds aren't even as good as him in terms of just being a pure villain. Mojito, quite literally, has changed Jujutsu Kaisen as a series and shifted the tone so drastically and taken so many characters away, leading to a complete shift in Itadori's character. To have this shot of alcohol survive at this point would mean something even bigger has to happen to justify Mahito's continued existence. But the real question is, and still remains after this episode, where is Choso? What is the status of Gojo? And most importantly, what even comes after this? I cannot describe how grateful I am for the staff working on this series, as they have done the final moments of this season so well so far, at the very least. Mojito deserves nothing but the best, and it looks like all of our dreams are about to come true in regards to how they're doing this fight. So drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about the fight between Alcoholic Beverage and Itadori and Todo. For first-time peeps, what are your thoughts? And for long-time manga readers, is this living up to the expectation of what the manga showed us originally? As well, what do you guys think about, Mojito? Your comments may be be used for an upcoming Mahito character analysis, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. Real quick, thank you everyone for last week's video, which basically got us 30,000 views. We gained nearly 100 subscribers off of that video as well. So if you're one of the new ones or a seasoned viewer, then I hope you have fun and thank you for subscribing. We cover all sorts of anime on the channel, from JJK, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, One Piece, all the way to newly airing anime like Undead Unluck and Frieren. Financially support the channel by becoming a patron, where you'll gain access to my mega One Piece arc reviews and first impressions. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.